Hi guys, welcome to Sick Conversations, and today we are having a super fun discussion. It's different. We have a special guest. I would like to introduce to you guys. This is Paul. He's one of our friends, and I think you can introduce yourself.
Well, you've already said it. Paul. I'm Paul. Just made 40 few months ago, so crazy excited to be on for Warriors. So I'm glad to be here. I'm really fun. I really love this show. So having the opportunity to be here is just one of those added things, added advantages that coming with being different. I had to use the word different, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, congratulations on turning 40.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
It felt surreal, by the way. It really felt surreal. After 3 decades, it was like, okay, it's going to be one year at a time. 1 year at a time.
Okay.
So you reach the 9 and then you're back to 0, but with a different number at the start. So you're like, okay, wow, I couldn't believe this is going to happen. So you have a lot of things running in your mind and you want to do them, but you're like, how would it feel if you do something and then, okay, we have hit the heights and then you're going to hit another low. So I took it a bit slow, but enjoyed it nevertheless. It was great. It was great. Yeah.
Your story must be quite an experience, I can imagine. When did you first find out about sickle cell, and how did you navigate that information?
Well, I found out I think in my primary. Most of the time it was in my primary, because when you're young you don't understand why. You go to school with your brother and all of a sudden they exclude you from some sports. You have no idea why. I would love to play football, but I wouldn't. So as time went on, it really hit in form 2, form 3, after getting a crisis. Out of nowhere, you're in class, you just have to go out. And you didn't understand, but you know it was because of something. And it was interesting in a way that for some reason, you know how school nurses are, they didn't mention anything, they just said call the parents. Yeah, so that sort of hit also. So after that it was gradual, just went gradual, okay, I have this, not so sure how to navigate it. Those days parents wouldn't really come up front, even after the diagnosis. There was a bit of, the stigma that is still around there sometimes. So yeah, you keep it quiet, you come back to school, everything is okay, but yeah, it's now changed because you've had your first serious episode.
Yeah.
And you're in school. Yeah. And you're in class, so you're like, okay, things are going to change from now, yeah. So
Sorry, 2 questions. Who broke it? Because you said you found out in primary, so who told you?
yeah, now to get the real medical thing, the medical diagnosis or a doctor telling you something, was actually during the form, secondary school.
Are you serious?
So yeah, so you wouldn't do certain things. You have no idea why. You feel the adrenaline is a bit high during those ages. So, but for that one, when we went to hospital, those notes, I don't know if they still use them now. As soon as you reach, okay, you've been given the usual starter things. And then on the paper you notice non-sickler, you know.
So you found out on your own.
Yeah,
Like
my mom
no
was
one
reading.
actually sat you down and
Yes,
was
and
you
like
have sickle
you're
cell.
going through this,
crazy.
it's called this, and you'll be doing this. So most of the time, really, it was just pacing myself,
Oh wow.
pacing myself and my brother. So because it's later on that what you had, what I would go through, he would go through.
Yeah.
He was younger than me. So we're like, okay.
We have
So
pain
no
today.
no running. All of a sudden you're weak. You're like, sometimes you would ask, okay, today I don't have energy to do anything really. Is it about that thing the doctor told us? So we used to joke sometimes. And it's like, yeah, I think that's why. So we end up playing games indoors and stuff. Then of course the wraparounds, like the sweaters when it's really cold. It caught, now it started becoming a routine. Because before you would just be yourself and you do things, all of a sudden you don't feel okay. But they're not really telling you exactly what's up.
So, if I'm to break it down, you're saying that you knew you had a problem. Okay, you knew you did not have, say, the same strength like your
Yes, true.
parents. You also found out your own triggers on your own.
On everything, yes, everything. Like
Is that
up to now.
also when like your parents found out that you guys had
No,
sickle
for them
cell?
they knew.
They
That's
already knew before.
yeah. That's what I was saying. That those days there's kind of this stigma, like how will he take it,
Yeah.
and what questions is he going to ask, and how am I going to answer them? So you're curious. So you're going to ask, what about these people? Okay, I have two brothers, and a sister. Okay, one is late, but now I have a brother and a sister. But by then you'll be like, okay, how come for them they have sports days and we don't, for us we're not allowed to run, So I think that played into their mind at a certain point. So when you get sick, they're like, okay, it used to be a good bit because you'll be taken care of, everything is like done for you, after, but then you're wondering, why
Yeah.
why all this?
Why
So
am I?
it's-
That's why you call yourself. Okay, you introduce yourself as different.
Yeah, that's why I use the word different.
Yeah.
You caught on it. So after that, it's just after that episode in class that I just in the hospital spent there around a week. It's not that vivid, but I remember there was a lot of like, you'd get a lot of like drips and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, okay, what is this? So you've read, you've seen, but you're not going to go up front to people and ask them and like, what's this? So most of it was done through research, and then of course you notice the normal things like the eyes yellow. Well, that was the first thing we noticed. We used to get teased about it.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're teased about it, the normal reaction for us would be, you guys are aliens, you don't mind us. Us guys are aliens. So you just don't mind us, we're kawaii. So yeah, we used to go through like that. And that was in primary, because we didn't know exactly what it was. So because we were born close, like he was 2 years before me. So we would like meet almost all the time on the school, campus. So yeah, most of the time it's been mostly research and learning, and the harder the crisis got. Yeah. So the more painful the crisis during that period, the more like fatigued you would get. You will start piecing things together. You're like, okay, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do this. Of course, some habits have stuck. Like, man, I can't do away with cold things, man. I just need to drink something cold, like water. Room temperature doesn't do it. Yeah,
We
so
all have, I mean, we all
Yeah.
have that cold water.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
cold.
It has to
It
be
has to be cold, yes.
Even when you know that it's not good, you're like, you cannot have
Like,
room.
Yeah.
yes, I cannot have room temperature. So once you notice that, we slowly got to understand it. So through, it hit me most. I think the last year of my secondary school, cause that's when I had my ADN, and I didn't do like second and third term of school.
Yeah.
So I just went there to do the exams in the wheelchair. So I was like, I'm not repeating this class. Whatever you do, find a way. So I just went, did my papers. A couple of friends helped me with the art project because the art project came before. So yeah, the AVN, that's when it hit like really like hard a bit. You're like, you know what? You have to like take care of yourself. Try and do this, try and do that. If anything happens, what do you do? You know. So unfortunately, it was a period of learning, like step by step. And maybe what helped was I had someone who also had it, and we would like,
Exchange notes.
exchange notes. Yeah, that's a good one. Like we would exchange notes. Like if one time I'm okay and he's not doing okay, you're like, okay, this is happening. You're like, what are you doing? You're like, yeah, just take this. Just put your own clock on it. Then of course there are those other ones where you like, you really have to go to hospital, and you can't tell him anything. So parents are there. He tried to do your stuff and like, no, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but so it was really a level of learning. It's the AVN that sort of like made it like really click that I had. So
I mean,
after that,
I've not had experience with AVN. I don't have any hip issues yet. So
you should expect it.
I can't say I'm not going to get it, but I think that both of you can speak of that.
Yeah.
So maybe you could like give us a highlight of like what it's like, what exactly you go through, what changes after the surgery.
Yeah. Interesting question or comment, because that's the funniest thing. I did not get surgery.
Yeah.
I still have the numb bone, but the experience is crappy. The truth is, it's really crappy. As in, you could have crises one after the other, and they're like too many. But avian pain is different.
Yeah.
It's totally different. Like, what I remember the most is you'll be in one place because any movement would cause you would literally scream.
Yeah.
So I would stay in one place for months on end, with of course they're helping you with the painkillers and stuff and what ease it up, and you still like any slight movement. You just can't compare it to anything because they haven't felt anything like that, and you really can't move. So yeah, they scheduled the surgery, but for some reason, I really don't know. For some reason, I didn't go through it and just did physiotherapy.
Really?
Yeah, because we used to go
That's
to
crazy.
Right?
yes,
I don't-
yeah. It's very interesting because the doctor was saying, I think it was called Dr. Najumba or something, was a bone specialist. So he had, scheduled, but when he came with like previous tests, like
X-rays, yeah.
it was like, you know what, I want to take you through this. It's what is required, but let's try something else. So from there, it was just physiotherapy. Like it was crushing, excruciating, but somehow, I don't know, maybe I can say it's the grace of God, because I spent 2 years with doing physiotherapy, and all I could do was use to get to his place. He had a doctor, like he had a private clinic. So to go to his place, I had to use a wheelchair, but there are like stairs. So okay, now that's going to be another trick. And then after that, he notices like, okay, yeah, you have to go through this. I'm sorry, it's going to hurt like hell, but at any one point, you can tell us and we just go do
the surgery.
I was like, you know what, let whatever comes. Because I'd gone through the hardest bit now. Because the hardest bit was really staying at home like 24/7, but in one place. Yeah. So you have done that for almost a year with excruciating pain, and you're like you're like going through it, and you're like, what is like, okay, I've gone this far. What is it because of a few stairs that I want to like give it all up, because by then the muscles were hurting already, like if you're in a position for a long time. So like the thigh muscles were like getting a little weak and you couldn't move fine. Yeah. So it's like you have to do physiotherapy. So I'm like, okay, you have to find a place. We got a place that was closer to home, and it was easy to maneuver around. So after like I think it was 2 years, because I did my 2 years of university in crutches. It turned out like it helped, So from the wheelchair, then we are on crutches, and I'm like, during that period you don't see it, that's the interesting thing. During the period you don't see it, or you don't appreciate how far you've come. Because now you can even go to school, but it's still there. You can feel it, because I was wondering, it will continue grinding.
That's what I'm curious about. Like, hasn't it got worse?
That's the funny thing. No, you just, as in, you feel a little pain, but they're like, don't put too much pressure on it. So at times, when I get, crazy and stuff, I just get my walking stick. And they're like, oh yeah, you remembered, you have to do that too. But yeah, so when it's training, so it was like, we shall do it in phases. So
the physio.
Yeah, the physio.
Okay.
Yeah. So after that, you do your school on crutches and stuff. And finally, after a while, you notice you can like put it down. You can put it down a little, and then of course, all that time you're doing drugs and they're giving you all these supplements.
Don't say doing drugs, they'll think
I know.
But yeah,
Pain
supplements and the usual stuff to keep you a bit comfortable.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, you're moving in bit by bit.
I think for me it was just after being in one place for like 6 months, it's like, no man, I need this transplant, let me get over and done.
So you were down for 6 months?
Yeah.
In bed?
And just like I'll just be on my couch or in my bed.
And you had to
And
be
that's
carried
it.
to your couch.
I had to use a cane the whole time, and I was like, no way, I'm just going to get my replacement and get over and done with it. Because that pain is different. It's not like a crisis. It's constant.
Well, I can't imagine when you say it's different. 'Cause
Yeah.
when we get a crisis, it's literally the worst thing
Yeah.
ever. So if you're saying it's a top-notch different,
No, but
It's not as painful, but it's just like really sharp.
is it like say when you know that crisis that we get that's like from top to bottom and it's very sharp and it's constant, it's throbbing.
like throbbing. Now this one doesn't throb.
Yeah.
That's the difference. It doesn't throb, but try and move. Just try and move. You will just sit in one. You will just like give up. You just drop, like you just slump in the chair or bed, and you're like, okay, I just can't. I just can't. And it's like constant. Like sharp pain that's constant.
Yeah.
It's not throbbing. It's not doing anything else, but it's constant. So you're like, man.
Oh my god.
I've been
So,
here.
After the surgery, what was like your recovery and then maybe the difference?
The recovery was actually really quickly. Like I was back on my feet in 2 weeks after the replacement. Yeah, no cane, nothing, none of that sharp pain with every movement. So it was a really easy decision for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I'm really trying to piece. Looking back now, I just can't imagine I stayed in there for over a year. I think it was because I had exams coming up. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
Because I had exams coming up, and I did not want to go to that school again and repeat that class. Like Form 6, like, okay, yeah, I studied like first term, half of second term, like, why should I repeat a whole year, So I think it's that gusto that made me feel like, you know what, do this, like take the pain,
yeah.
and you're taking it, but you're knowing that you're not going to do what you don't want again. Not that I don't like it, but you're not going to go through that experience again. The surgeries had just come. It was quite a bit like new
You have to
technology.
keep reminding ourselves that he's very old.
Yeah.
You have to keep reminding like, oh my god, then he's
Oh god. Yeah, that's the interesting bit, because when you talk to someone and I get it a lot, like even on my birthday, as greeting some of the nurses, and they actually would not look through the files. So when I told them, I brought them cake and some gifts, like thank you for all that you've done
Oh my god,
for
that's
me.
so wonderful.
And they asked how old I was, and I told them, they're like, all this time
Yeah,
you've
old
been
man.
doing this. So it's sort of I sort of get that reaction sometimes, but I think it is it's I think it came from knowing what you're going to do next and staying the course and making sure you do not get held back. You just keep moving forward, because I knew.
I think we all have that kind of drive and willingness. Okay, willingness to like survive.
Yeah,
I need
true.
to fight through this. I need to push through this pain. So I think that's what pushed you.
Yeah,
the
mostly, yeah.
entire year.
Entire
It's
year.
a good thing, because I mean, right now we all think, okay, every straight surgery, I'm going to deal with this, and then now you have a whole different.
Perspective to it. Yeah, understandably, because it's not. I'm just learning to appreciate it, that it's not usual. At first, I did not know.
Yeah.
It's until you do your research and you go through it and you're like, okay, yeah, there's this thing, You know, you can do this. It just helps. You know, you don't have to go through all that. Sometimes you don't look at it like that at the initial stage. So you're like, ah, man, I've gone through a lot. You know, I just can't go through this. You know, and just stay there, and you know, because sometimes the truth is I did not know how long I was going to be in that state.
That's true.
Yeah, so sometimes you have feelings of you want to give up, and you're like, okay, let's just go and do this. And then another time you're like, you feel like you can do it. You know, you've gone through the physios they advised. I don't know what even made him change his mind, not to like go through the with the operation. I just don't know. I just know that he was like, no, let's just try physio. So it's when it's a few experiences later that you really come to appreciate that, you know what, maybe it was for the better, you know, it was for the best. And some of these things you just get the energy to pull through. You just get the energy to pull through.
So they say that when you reach 30, you have your life priorities figured out. One, is that something that, okay, personally, I never thought I'd reach 25. I lived my life till 25. That is the truth. So when I got past 25, I've been confused since then. Like everyone knows this. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my life. Because I gave myself like you know how the doctors always tell us.
Yeah.
Like you have until maybe she's 5, until she's 10, until she's.
So you keep breaking barriers.
So I'm like, okay, I did 10, then I did 15. I'm like, you know what? The best you're going to do is. So after that, I was like, wow, okay.
Now what?
Now what? Now what do I do?
You've reached the peak, so now what?
Yeah. And I turned, we share the same birthday, so I turned 29.
Amazingly, man. I was so shocked.
So I'm here like, okay, sir, who reached 40 when you were closing up to 30? Did you like start panicking and saying what's going to change? Or did you like set your life?
Set the life goals. Yeah, when you reach like 27 and you've managed, because usually it's the stage where you've like, okay, you've jumped campus, you're like I'm going through this, I'm done. So now you're like looking towards life in general.
Yeah.
So for me, it was okay. Yeah, I had learned. We had self-taught ourselves PC stuff, and so I had an idea of what I wanted to do, which was computer science and stuff, but majoring in mostly graphics design and other forms of design. So as you're finishing 27 around there, so you're approaching 30, you really don't have it all like figured out, because one day you'll be like, okay, I have this great idea, we're going to do this and this. You go the like 80% of the distance, and then you get a crisis that holds you down for 2 months. And then the persons who are with you are like, are you sure you manage? And that question hits deep.
The doubt of, are you sure you want to do this?
Yes, and it keeps creeping up. So it gives you that sort of feeling of, okay, if the persons I wanted to do this with are having doubts, how am I going to pull through this? Because now you start looking at the reality that, okay, I won't be okay 100% all the time. You've tried, you've done, you've gone through the books, and you're running everything by the page, but of course you have some things like, you know, you skip, but you're doing everything by the book, and still you have that someone has already sowed that seed that, okay, will you manage because of one crisis that you got, and it lasted a while.
I mean, no, I don't
So-
think even just the person. I think we already walk with that doubt in our souls.
Every day.
Yeah.
So now imagine someone
Yeah.
someone who you count on, who you're relying on, now
Yes.
also telling you, "Are you sure you're going to do that?" Now it's just
Yes.
like
it
you're giving
just-
me a stamp of approval that I cannot do this.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, we were around people who had, my brother was a programmer, you know, so we used to, you know, keep practicing on laptops and, you know, computer stuff, teaching ourselves things. So I was like, okay, much as you've said I'm not going to do this, let's see if you can take this route alone or with someone who is willing to, like, you know, follow you down that route and see how far you can go.
I mean, I think we are laughing because we go through
The same-
Yeah.
same things, just in different
Yeah.
in
Same
different ways.
experiences.
Yeah.
Same, I will do it, you know, if I die, I die. Oh,
Yeah,
see what
as in,
happens.
we'll see what happens, and if they said I told you so, well, yeah.
Yeah, and that I told you so, it was very close.
Mhm.